Welcome to Nikon Canada and their winter sales event. Well, their website anyway. Hi, Ray here. And as I explained in my last video, I'm not going to show my face right now because it's still a bit of a mess from some facial surgery, but I wanted to jump on this because this is what we've all been waiting for. This is Firmware 2 for the Nikon Z8. So let's get right into it here. We can go to Software, and this is the same for most of the sites all over the world. Firmware updates, and right away we'll see it here. Nikon Z8. Firmware 1.01 to 2.0. And let's get right into the changes from C firmware version 101 to 2. Here they are. And I'll just tell you that I just updated my camera. Everything went well. I do have on my last firmware video the instructions on that, and maybe I'll just leave a link to that at the end of this video. That has instructions there for those who have never done an update to their Z cameras. So yep, I'll leave that at the end. So you're probably ahead of me in reading, and there's a note to begin with that says the following software will need to update to the latest versions. So that's camera control, IPTC preset manager version 1.3 or later, NX Studio, and so on and so forth there. And then another note, the changes listed below under still photography, video recording, playback controls, displays, and network, also NX field, are detailed in the supplementary firmware update manual. We'll maybe look at that later. Due to the addition of new menu items, you should expect that your custom settings menu items have been renumbered, or at least some of them. So in still photography, let's look at this. Added pixel shift shooting to the photo shooting menu. That's awesome, and that came from the Nikon ZF. Added new picture controls. Added birds to autofocus subject detection options in the shooting menu. So that came from the Z9. The last big Z9 update was that 4 had birds, and I've done a video on that. Maybe I'll put a link above here. The maximum shooting display zoom ratio is now 400%. Added auto capture to the photo shooting menu. Also, I detailed that in the last big update for the Z9. And so you can then select capture criteria for motion, the direction the subject is moving, distance, how far the subject is from the camera, and subject detection, whether or not a subject of a given type is detected, and the camera will take photographs automatically while it detects subjects that meet the selected criteria. Note that distance is available with Nikon Z lenses and may not function as expected when used with other lenses. The FX 36x24 and the DX 24x16 image areas are available with auto capture. The length of time the camera will continue to buffer frames before cancelling shooting during the pre-release capture phase of high-speed frame capture plus has been increased from 30 to 300 seconds. Added large to the size options available for secondary slot function, JPEG primary, JPEG secondary in the photo shooting menu. Added new bracketing increments for use during auto bracketing with the A, E, and flash bracketing, AE bracketing, or flash bracketing selected for the auto bracketing set. This change also applies to interval, timer shooting, options, AE bracketing, increment. Those are all awesome, and as I said, some of those came from the Nikon ZF and some came from the Z9. That's all great. Now, video recording. Added new picture controls. Now, I actually haven't looked at those yet. I'm jumping in here, just downloaded it, just updated the firmware on my Z8, did a quick scroll through and looked at some things. Added birds, again, to autofocus subject detection options in the video recording menu. The maximum shooting display zoom ratio is now 400%. Added auto capture to the video recording menu. Users can select the capture criteria, etc. as before with stills, and that's all pretty much the same as stills. Added low ISO sensitivity options to ISO sensitivity settings, ISO sensitivity mode M for use during N-Log video recording. Changed the range of speeds available for high-res zoom, and added slow motion video recording. That came from the ZF, did it not? Playback. Added playback speed in the video playback I menu. Added auto image rotation in the playback menu, added auto series playback options in the playback menu, made changes to the select for upload to computer and select for upload FTP items in the playback I menu, and added select for priority upload to computer and select for priority upload FTP. Then controls. We've got a whole bunch of control changes here. Added half press to cancel zoom, manual focus. Added item to custom settings menu in positions D18 and G17. Added focus point border width to A11, focus point display in the custom settings menu. Changes have been made to how a full format is performed with format memory card in the setup menu. I'm not quite sure what that means, but we do know that there's two options there. One is quick format and one is full format. White balance and exposure compensation can now be adjusted while recalling the shooting function settings. Added support for the power zoom feature on power zoom lenses. Added an exposure delay mode item to custom settings menu in position D6. Added the custom controls and roles assignable via the following items in the custom settings menu. New reset options have also been added. F2, custom control shooting. F3, custom controls playback. G2, custom controls. Choose prefer focus point or prefer focus point face priority for F3, custom controls playback, main command dial or sub command dial, frame advance zoom position. The settings for F3, custom controls playback, main command dial or sub command dial, frame advance can now be applied during playback zoom. Made updates to non-CPU lens data in the setup menu. I look forward to checking that out. Do have some non-CPU lenses. Increase the character limit from 3 to 256 for category entries in IPTC presets. Restructured the camera sounds item in the setup menu with the addition of new options, including new sounds and volume level adjustment for the electronic shutter. Again, something that I'm eager to look into. See what kind of new sounds we got. Did we get cats yet? Displays. Added focus distance information to the focus distance indicator displayed during manual focus. The option selected for viewfinder display size, formerly finder display size, photo LV in the setup menu now also applies in video and playback modes. Excellent. Now we've got network, also NX field. A warning now appears when the connection to an Atomos Air Glue BT accessory is unstable or disrupted. Very handy. Atomos Air Glue BT accessories and MC-N10 remote grips can now be used together. Made changes and additions to the Connect to FTP server item in the network menu. Change the procedure used when configuring the camera for synchronized release, increasing to 20 the number of groups that can be created, while the number of cameras in each group that can be controlled from the master camera has been increased to 16. Added overwrite copyright info under the Connect to other cameras in the network menu. So we've got some app-related changes with NX Mobile Air. The camera's live view display for photo mode now shows NX Mobile Air status, and camera settings saved to a memory card using save load menu settings can now be downloaded to the smart device or copied from the smart device to the camera memory card using NX Mobile Air. So it's great to see all these changes. This is an amazing update. Other changes: the time shooting display goes dark after the shutter is released when on is selected for photo flicker reduction in the photo shooting menu has become shorter. Improved the accuracy of 3D tracking for small, fast-moving subjects when auto, people, animal, or vehicle is chosen for AF subject detection options and no subject of the selected type is detected. This could be a big change. I'd be very interested to try this out. And improved focus lock-on with flicker detection in low-speed continuous release mode. Made other improvements, we don't know what those are, to the autofocus operation and its reliability. This is going to be fun. Fixed an issue that sometimes resulted in the viewfinder darkening during playback when auto was selected for viewfinder brightness. It is now easier to obtain the correct exposure from the first shot during interval timer photography in high contrast settings or settings dark enough for starlight view. The histogram display is no longer available when starlight view is enabled. Change the video low capacity warning so that it's now displayed in white on a red background when there's less than 1 minute remaining. The warning is now also displayed when recording is not in progress. Users now have more precise control when scrolling through videos during playback using the progress bar. When AF area mode is set to 3D tracking, and the human subject is large relative to the frame and multiple eyes are detected near the tracking focus point, the camera will assign priority for focusing to the eye closer to the point. You know, it was just a few days ago that I heard a call for that, and that's really great to hear. Again, something I can't wait to try out. The RGB histogram is now easier to view when Mode 1 or Mode 2 is selected for D11. Warm display colors in custom settings menu. And there's a few fixes here. Photos taken with interval timer photography could sometimes be underexposed. Flash may not sometimes fire during focus shift. The focus position unintentionally returned to the position saved during save focus position if standby timer was expired while power was supplied via USB and a WR-10 was attached. Optimal exposure could sometimes not be achieved in burst or focus shift shooting. Pressing the AF on button immediately ended playback when playback was assigned to AF on button and prioritize viewfinder 2 was selected for monitor mode. Shutter release was sometimes disabled when bulb was selected for shutter speed. Focus point selection using the multi-selector and sub-selector was unavailable if a touch operation was performed during position focus point when 3D tracking was selected for AF area mode. Fine-tuning values set in AF fine-tuning options in the setup menu did not apply while the subject is detected with wide area AFS, wide area AFL, wide area AFC1, or wide area AFC2 selected for AF area mode. And there we have it. So some great fixes there at the end, but how exciting to see all this stuff coming from both the Z9 and also some stuff from the ZF. And that really does bring what I was asking for recently. And most of us have been wondering when it was going to happen, and that is parity with the Z9. And we have much of that here that I can see. I have to do a side-by-side comparison, but that looks like an amazing set of changes. Really a true Kaizen update for the Nikon Z8. Okay, I promised to look at that supplementary firmware manual. Supplement firmware version 2 for the Z8. So here it is. I always download these things and print them out. So all this stuff here is all detailed. I print these out and I put them in a document folder. And yeah, this is going to be really, really helpful for us to all fully familiarize ourselves with everything that's included in this firmware update and all your explanations in full. This is really great what Nikon does for us here. You know, these, I don't know what other manufacturers do because I don't often check into their firmware updates, but what's this say? Limits when using flat monochrome and deep tone monochrome, the portrait impression balance options in the, okay. So that's, did they include that for this camera? Because that's from the Z8, but these are also available with the, from the ZF. These are available with the Z8 as well. And I always, even when I'm shooting with the ZF, what I do with that is I'm shooting in RAW, so I simply choose afterwards whether I'm going to stay with the deep tone monochrome, rich tone portrait, whatever I do. That's all available, of course, when you're in post-production, when you're editing, and you can choose exactly which picture control that you want to use. So there it is. I'm really looking forward to printing this off and reading in full, because I like reading manuals. I'm very strange that way. So that's what she wrote, guys. And just to show you that you download right here, it's easy to download. As I said, I've already downloaded it actually on my MacBook, and then you simply take this bin file. Now you don't have to open anything else, just you drag that bin file onto the root of your whatever card you want to put in there. I just used an older XQD 32GB card. That worked just fine. The update does take quite a bit of time, probably 5 or 6 minutes, I would guess. I just went away to do something else actually to set up for this little vlog, I guess you can call it. Well, I hope to come back quite soon with my face, just as soon as my nose heals up. But I wanted to jump on this right away. This just came in, literally breaking news. So again, see firmware version 2.0 for the Nikon Z8. What a great update. This is really going to be fun to try out, and I'll bring you some results from that tryout ASAP. Well, if you found this useful, please do give it the old thumbs up. And if this is your first visit here, please do consider subscribing. Hit that notification bell to make sure that you don't miss any upcoming new content from me. In the meantime, take care, cheers, and we'll see you later.